Imagine for a moment that I'm in the dock. I'm being accused of a murder. I know I didn't commit. And the witnesses who came into the witness box, the victims, we're talking about the victims here. We're not talking about eyewitnesses who spotted something and gave some evidence and could have been wrong. We're talking about three or four separate victims of the crimes that I was being accused of, standing in the witness box and describing the perpetrators of the crimes against them. And they described two white men and one black man. The three men that were stood in the dock, as you just identified, were dark-skinned men. At the time, I had dreadlocks to my shoulder. My co-defendant, who was darker skinned than me, had dreadlocks. And the third defendant was of, much darker appearance with short black hair. So when the victims were going in the witness box and telling the jury that the people who committed the crimes against them were two white men, and they went further than just describing the color of the men's skin. They described blue eyes. They described fair hair. And as I just said, I had dreadlocks. I got brown eyes. Both my co-defendants had brown eyes. And when those witnesses were given that evidence, not just one, but more than one victims, when they were given those bits of evidence, it was an incredible moment during the court case that they could still, this is the prosecution and the police, could continue to pursue their prosecution against three black men. But we were and are talking about a time where racism hadn't quite hit the headlines that Stephen Lawrence brought it to, or cases like Black Lives Matter. This was happening back in 1988. So anybody who thinks it's just starting to happen in America, where social media is allowing people to see the elements of racism, as you just rightly said, from a police officer just this week, and what's been going on in America. It was happening to me when I was in that prison cell, when I was in that dock, when I was fighting from the confines of an isolation cell.